Typically, western pond turtles are found in the sloughs and ponds along a river. They don't like fast-moving water. They like to be in the smaller pools. They need good places to get out of the water and warm up and bask.
The western pond turtle is one of two native pond turtles in the Pacific Northwest. It used to be pretty common from Mexico all the way up to Vancouver, BC. The western pond turtle is now extinct in BC and rare, endangered, of course, in the state of Washington, and the numbers are declining in both California, Oregon, and Mexico.
AZA SAFE, Saving Animals from Extinction, has selected the western pond turtle as one of its first species that we're going to focus on. The primary reason for that is because we've had so much success with our zoos and aquariums working with other partners to help save this animal from extinction. Today we're here in Northern California, and we've had the opportunity in the last couple of days to talk to a variety of individuals who have been directly involved in conservation of this species, from Washington State to California to Oregon, even to Baja. We've seen a group of stakeholders get together who have talked about their collaborations. We've had many individuals who are doing the field conservation themselves, individuals who work from the scientific community and the universities, individuals from the state agencies, individuals from the United States Fish and Wildlife Department. And together we've all come up with a focus on how we're going to save this species.
In Washington State, the western pond turtle in 1991 had become very rare. As a matter of fact, down to just 150 animals. So the Woodland Park Zoo decided to work with the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife to try to restore this population. So that's 24 years we've been working, and we've managed to raise the population from 150 turtles. That's all there were. They're highly endangered, and today we think there's somewhere between 800 and 1,000 in Washington.
There was actually staff at the Woodland Park Zoo in the early 90s that discovered this population in the Columbia River Gorge. The population was very small at that time, with no juveniles. So it was clear that if nothing was done, as those turtles got older and older and died, the population would just decline and then disappear.
The western pond turtle is threatened with extinction for a number of reasons. The loss of habitat is the driving force to their threat. Some 50% of wetlands in the United States have been lost. And more recently, invasive species that aren't native to this area have moved in.
Researchers were out there in the field looking for turtles, and they weren't finding any juveniles. And what they hypothesized was happening is that these hatchlings were being eaten by a number of different animals.
The pond turtles, when they're little tiny hatchlings, they're very much at risk to being predated or eaten by bullfrogs, of all things.
So the way to really help the pond turtle to survive into the future was to bring those hatchlings in and help them survive that difficult early time when they're so vulnerable.
So what we do to help them get through this critical part of their life through both captive breeding and something we call head starting. We take the brand new little hatchlings, or we remove the eggs and incubate them in the zoo. We hatch the eggs, then we grow the little turtles for just about a year. And at that size, they've grown bigger than the width of the bullfrog's mouth, and the bullfrogs can't predate them.
The Oregon Zoo joined with the Woodland Park Zoo in 1998 to increase the capacity of zoos to augment those wild populations to get to our current state with the 6 populations of pond turtles.
All right, so that one's ready to go.
It's important to have this turtle survive long term. Most people probably don't think of turtles as having an important role, but by having that turtle in the environment, it helps keep the ecosystem healthy.
When we go to a river or a wetland and we see western pond turtles and we see red-legged frogs and we see snakes, it means that it's healthy.
Wetlands themselves have huge value to us. They're one of the things that provides us with water. When the western pond turtles decline, it means there's something wrong with their environment. It's not just western pond turtles that are declining, it's all the species that live in that complex wetland ecosystems that the pond turtles live in. In other words, western pond turtles are indicators of healthy ecosystems.
Yeah, give me the last four and I'll insert them here.
2973.
My name is Jessie Bushell and I work at the San Francisco Zoological Gardens. I'm the AZA Species Survival Plan Coordinator.
Carapace depth.
85.
Basically, that refers to the management plan that we have in place for the captive western pond turtles.
These things are big, and this is not even the biggest one.
3008.
We've partnered with Sonoma State University and a professor there, Dr. Nicholas Geist, who's looking at the physiology of these turtles and also their nesting behavior in the field.
In the first year, we found a lot of nests right in this area. They really like the edges. Turtles will go some distance to find nesting sites. I've been working with Oakland and San Francisco zoos. We've established this really nice collaboration. I think it shows how effectively you can combine basic research on one side and then apply that to inform conservation.
There's not a lot known about nesting behaviors, about nest site fidelity, about reproductive physiology. There's so many questions that need to be answered.
If you want conservation to be effective in the long term, the more you know about the biology of an animal, its natural history, the more effective it's going to be.
We provided the framework for other organizations now.
I think California is lucky compared to Washington and Oregon in that our pond turtle, it's not in as few or as isolated populations as those states. We do have a number of areas where the species is declining, particularly in Southern California. Those declines have been ongoing for multiple years, over decades, and they're pretty severe. Well, we're hoping that we can partner with the people here to get conservation actions actually happening on the ground.
The situation for western pond turtles here in San Diego County is not very good. USGS, United States Geological Survey, has been monitoring the populations in most of the watersheds here for over 10 years. And most of those 10 years, no babies were detected in any of the populations that they were studying. Without intervention, most likely they would become extinct within the county of San Diego. These are off-exhibit rearing tubs for baby western pond turtles. That's a nice meal for them, the adult cricket. They get a lot of nutrients and helps them grow at a really good rate. Over 100 years ago, western pond turtles were found in a variety of habitats throughout the county of San Diego. They were doing quite well, and now the populations are so small that many don't contain any females at all, and some contain just a handful. So we had to come up with a way where we could get eggs in order to head start without being able to find nests.
And we got this guy and two other turtles.
What we do with western pond turtles in conjunction with our partners is collect females with eggs, bring them back to a quarantine facility with no other animals of any kind, and let them lay their eggs. An unexpected outcome of this head starting project was that we were going to learn a lot from following up. Through the process of putting radio transmitters on our head-started turtles, we're able to find out lots of information that was previously not known about the habits of young turtles in San Diego County. Things like what body temperatures they reach while they're basking before they stop basking, and their movement patterns throughout the course of a 12-month period. All those things are very important in order to be able to properly conserve the species and take the right actions to help them survive.
This site that we're at is called Dead Tree Pond. That nice hillside, it's south facing, so it gets a lot of sun, it's warm. That's where the turtles will nest.
This population was discovered in the early 90s. There were probably less than 200 turtles, and there were no juveniles.
Washington Fish and Wildlife has been working with the Woodland Park Zoo since 1990 and the Oregon Zoo since 1998. Really great collaboration because our job is recovery of species and population monitoring. So these turtles have notches filed into their scutes
Each scoot has a number assigned to it. 3,200 plus 1,600. What number was that?
5275.
Good, we have the right turtle.
At the Woodland Park Zoo, we're very proud of the fact that we've been able to take the pond turtles from living simply in 2 ponds. In the entire state of Washington, the western pond turtle in 1991 only lived in 2 ponds.
And we'll use this pit tag reader.
And through head starting, they now have been able to be reintroduced into 4 new ponds.
New home.
I think one significant milestone for us here at the Oregon Zoo is hearing about turtles that were head started here that have gone on and grown up in the wild and actually reproduced themselves and produced offspring. To be able to see that come full circle and know that we're contributing to what could someday be a self-sustaining population being reestablished in the gorge helps us feel like we're really making a difference.
Today, actually after we release these guys, we'll be at 1,424 Head Start turtles released to 4 sites over 25 years.
When you have more people collaborating, there's power in numbers, and I think we will have a lot better chance at recovery of the species across its range if we all work together.
So today we're here to release 28 of these turtles that we've raised from basically an egg, or just before hatching from the egg, to this point where they're 2 or 3 years old.
I've known this turtle since she was an egg. Here you go, buddy.
You know, in my own career, I've actually seen species gone extinct, so it's a very rewarding experience to actually see something come back from the brink of extinction.
We've been doing this for 20 years now, and as I say, we feel that we've been successful in preventing extinction. We feel that we've made the first step towards recovery, but we're not there yet.
Many conservationists and scientists work on restoring endangered species, like the scientists at the AZA and the scientists here at Woodland Park Zoo. But to have success in the long run, it's all about the public getting engaged with conservation. Everyone needs to learn about the situation. They need to know what behavior changes they can make in their own lives. And only by working together can we save species like the western pond turtle and actually all the different species that make up our precious natural heritage.